Namaskaram. Welcome to Correct Kannada. This presentation is on nouns in Kannada. Everything about nouns, right? Let's start. Okay, the pillars of Kannada language learning. What are the pillars? Basically, the Varnamala, the alphabet of the Kannada language needs to be learned, needs to be memorized. That's the first step. I have a video uploaded that gives each and every letter the pronunciation and the corresponding writing writing method of that letter in detail. A 1 hour video has been uploaded. So if you have not seen it, please take a look at it. Without Varnamala, you can't learn anything else in Kannada. That's my opinion. Okay, now this presentation is on nouns, and that's the second pillar. Third pillar will be tenses. Fourth are participles. Fifth are modes, and sixth is a postposition. If you cover these 6 pillars, you will be able to speak, read, write Kannada comfortably in an advanced manner, right? With absolute independence. That's basically the intention. Okay. Now this presentation is on nouns. Let's look at. Okay, so what are nouns and what is Vibhakti, right? Nouns are basically name, place, and things are called nouns in English. When these nouns, right, when they are placed at various positions within a sentence, then depending upon their position, certain suffix needs to be added to the noun in Kannada, and this is called Vibhakti. Okay, in English they don't have such suffix. In English you have independent words that represents the position of the noun in the sentence. For example, in English you have to, in, on, with, for, right? And these individual words in English are implemented as Vibhakti in Kannada, which means the suffix is attached to the noun together. It becomes like a single word. It is not separated out. So these are called Vibhaktis. There are 8 Vibhaktis in Kannada. The corresponding English equivalent of these 8 Vibhaktis are I, me, by me, to me, from me, mine, in me, hey Ram, like calling somebody, right? These are the equivalents in English. Example, again, I want to give the first English equivalent so that you can place in your mind what we are talking about, right? The grammar concept, because this presentation and all my presentations are intended for English educated people who want to learn Kannada correctly with a proper grammar. So I'm using the English grammar as a base to explain Kannada grammar. Okay, so I saw a tree. This is the nominative case. Why? Because I is the subject of this sentence, right? I saw a tree. This is the first case, and Kannada will basically have some in Kannada there is a suffix for the subject, and it's optional. We'll see that later. Then the next one is the noun becomes the object here, right? He called me, right? So I become the object of being called. So he called me in English. The letter I becomes me, me, right? When it becomes an object. In Kannada, you will just take the I and add a suffix to it, and it will become me, right? So this is the second case, the accusative case. Third, book was written by me. Right here in English, you have to include a new word called by in order to represent an instrument, meaning I was the instrument. I was instrumental in writing the book, right? So it was written by me. So this instrumental case is very much used in active to passive voice, where you say, okay, I wrote the book is active voice. The book was written by me. Then you use the instrumental case, right? When you want to convert it to passive voice. Next one is he gave a pen to me. Now to me, right? Pen is the object, he is the subject, to me is the indirect object. So when I become an indirect object, then English uses the word to, right? Whereas in Kannada you will have a suffix specific for it which will be added. Okay, he took help from me, right? Again, English has an independent word, whereas in Kannada you will see that the me itself will have a suffix added to it to represent from me. That house is mine. Right now, again, a new word where you have a genitive case. You possess that house. The house belongs to you. So in English, you use the word mine or the apostrophe s. Right, Gita's pen, like that. Gita's house. So in Kannada, again, you will have a suffix added to it. There is a great strength in me. Now it is locative case where you're saying the book is on the table. The book is in the cupboard, like that. So you're locating, it's a locative case, and it's called in. You use in, at for English, whereas in Kannada it will again be a suffix. The last case will be the vocative case where you're calling. In English it is just hey Rama, hey Sita, like that. You just use the word hey or something like that. Whereas in Kannada you have a suffix specifically for even calling out people, right? Suffix will be added to the noun. We'll see that. Okay, so I've given the intro of what we are trying to learn, what part of grammar that we are trying to learn using English. So you shouldn't be getting lost. Okay, the next slide. Here I'm introducing Vibhakti. So this is a concept taken from Sanskrit, and basically the 8 Vibhaktis, which is basically the suffixes, right, are getting introduced here. We will first see them. First is called the Prathama Vibhakti, and it is called the Karta, right, or the Karta, which means the subject, right? So when the noun is the subject, then you have to use this Vibhakti, and the English equivalent is I, he, she, they, it. Kannada doesn't have a suffix, meaning, of course, the suffix part of it, I'm going to come to it in later slides. I just want to still focus on the mapping to the English words so that it is very clear. So the Prathama Vibhakti is I, he, she, they, it. Dvitiya Vibhakti is your karma, that is the object of the sentence. Me, him, her, them, and the. So the is very important because in English you have I saw the tree, I saw the car, like that. You always say use the. That is the equivalent of that in Kannada is your Dvitiya Vibhakti, where you are pointing specifically to that object, and therefore you use the. So whenever you see the in English, you can just straight away convert it to Dvitiya Vibhakti suffix in Kannada. Okay, Tritiya Vibhakti. Tritiya Vibhakti is Karana. Karana means the instrumental, right? The instrument of doing something. So I cut the tree with an axe. Then you use the Tritiya Vibhakti. Book was written by me, right? So I went through the papers, like that. So these are all Tritiya Vibhakti. Then Chaturthi Vibhakti is Sampradhana, right? What it is it gives a link between what I did. So I went to the temple, right? I gave a book to my friend. So when you say such thing, that is your Chaturthi Vibhakti. Then Panchami Vibhakti is your Apadana. Apadana. Basically, Apadana is the opposite of to, where you say, I came from office. I came from the garden, like that, where you say from. Right? You are separating yourself from an object, and therefore it is from. Next is the Shashti Vibhakti, which is Sambandha, right? It's a relationship where you use apostrophe s in English. You say mine, yours, hers, theirs. Kannada will have the corresponding suffix. We will see the suffix later. Saptami Vibhakti is what is called as a Adhikarana. Adhikarana is basically your locative case, where you say in the book, in the house, in the room, like that, right? So that is basically your Saptami Vibhakti. Ashtami Vibhakti is the Sambodhana. Sambodhana is basically when you're calling out somebody. In Kannada, you have specific suffix for adding specific suffix for this Vibhakti where you're calling out somebody. For example, hey Ramane, you have to add this Ramane. Rama is the actual noun, but you'll say hey Ramane, hey Sita, ye, hey Rajane, like that. So this is used a lot in literature, but even in speech, it is certainly used as well. Okay, let's look at the next slide. Okay, here I straight away want to introduce some examples so that you get an idea of where these Vibhaktis fit into a Kannada sentence, right? So that's why I'm introducing these examples. We will certainly look at each of these cases, which means each of these Vibhaktis, right? Vibhaktis are also called as cases. So we'll see each of them in detail in the later slides. This is just to give you an intro of where it fits in. Okay, Ramanu, Ravananannu, Samharisuttane, Ramanu. So this nu is basically your Prathama Vibhakti suffix, right? So this is actually optional. Usually you don't have to add it. In literature, in prose, they will add. You can just say Rama as it is. The name itself is, so Prathama Vibhakti usually does not have any suffix. Only if you want to like make it very poetic, then people use it, right? If not, it is not poetic, or in literature, if you want to make it very formal, then you write this nu. If not, you just say Rama, Rama, Ravananannu, Samhari Suttani. That's your case 1. In other words, case 1 does not have any suffix. It is just optional. If you use it, it may sound nice, right? Okay. Case 2. Ramanu, Ravana Nannu. So this has been highlighted, right? Or put in red. So this Ravana Nannu, this suffix is representing the object, because Ravana is the object of the sentence. Ramanu is the subject of the sentence. Whenever you have the object of the sentence, you have to add this Annu. Annu is the suffix that you add. Samhari Suttani. Okay, this is your tense. We will learn about tense in another video. Third case, which is Ravana Ramaninda Samharisa Pattani. So this is like a passive voice, meaning Ravana was killed by Rama. Now Ravana is your subject, Rama is your object. So Ramaninda, right? By Rama, he was instrumental in killing Ravana. So that you use the suffix inda, right? Like what I mentioned, this Tritiya Vibhakti is used for converting active voices to passive voices when you're speaking. Now one more example of Tritiya Vibhakti is this, the instrument that you use to do an action, right? Rama Billinda Ravananannu Samhari Suttani. Billu means bow, right? So Rama killed Ravana with a bow. So this with the object that you use to do an action, you have to use the inda, because Billu is also a noun, right? Ramanu Billinda Ravananannu Samhari Suttani. Again, I repeat, we are going to see each of these suffixes in detail in later slides. This is just an intro to get you a feel of what these Vibhaktis are all about. Okay. Fourth Vibhakti, Ramanige, right? Ramanige, Pattabhisheka, Nadayuttade, right? Ramanige, Pattabhisheka, Nadayuttade. A coronation was done to Rama, right? So this ge basically is to Rama. Next, that's your Chaturthi Vibhakti. Next one is Panchami Vibhakti, where Ramaninda, right? Sugrivanige ಒಂದು ಸಹಾಯ ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. Sugriva from Rama, Sugriva needed a help, right? So this from Rama is your Ramaninda. If you notice, the fifth Vibhakti and the third Vibhakti, they have the same suffix, right? By, with, through, and this from. How it is differentiated is in the sentence. In the sentence itself, the differentiation is understood, but they use the same suffix, the third and fifth. Just remember that. Okay, fifth Vibhakti is done. Let's go for the sixth Vibhakti is Ramana Tande Dasharatha Maharaja. Rama's father. So that's your na. Rama's father is Dasharatha. Ramanalli Ashtu Ollaya Gunagalive. So in Rama, there are so many good qualities. Ramanalli. So this alli is the suffix for the Saptami Vibhakti. Ramane. Ninna daye neediri. Ramane, you're calling Rama out. Hey Rama, please give me your kindness. Right, Ramane. So this ne is the suffix for Sambodhana, which is the Ashtami Vibhakti. Ninna daye neediri. Right. So this was an intro to how the Vibhaktis are going to look like. As we go further, we will see in detail each of these cases. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so so we saw Vibhakti. There is one more concept called declension. Declension is basically nothing but when you're adding suffixes. Like in English, you have individual words for each what you call each Vibhakti. Whereas in Kannada, as we saw just now, suffixes are just attached to the noun. Because suffixes are getting attached to the noun, right? There are cases where there are situations where the noun and the suffix won't fit properly because it won't sound properly. So in order to make this make the pronunciation easy, we have this concept of declension. In English it's called phonology, in Kannada it's called sandhi. So there are letters that you have to insert in between a noun and the Vibhakti in order to pronounce it easily. So this concept is called declension, and there are 5 such declensions defined in Kannada. The first declension is all masculine nouns, right, ending with a, they belong to the first declension, meaning they will all have one specific letter added to them before you attach the Vibhakti. So example, Rama, Dasharatha, like that. Second declension, all are ending feminine nouns like Geeta, Disha, Diya. So these are ending, again, are ending feminine nouns will have certain letter added in between the noun and the Vibhakti to pronounce it easily. Third declension is all I ending neuter nouns like Mara, Nila. Neuter nouns are basically inanimate objects are all neuter in Kannada, right? Humans are either masculine or feminine. Mara, Nila. Mara means tree. Nila means land or ground, right? It's called Nila. So these I ending neuter nouns will belong to a third declension where you have to add a specific letter to attach it to the Vibhakti comfortably. Fourth declension, all A or E ending words, nouns. This is all common. Masculine, feminine, neuter. For all three types of genders, you will still use the same. There is one particular letter that you have to include. Examples of these nouns are Ramani, right? Site, Kare. Kare means like a tank or a small pond, right? It's called Kare. Mane is house. Okay. Now then fifth declension, all U ending nouns, right? Like Babu, it's also a person's name, right? Babu, Hasu, Hullu, right? So these are the fifth declension where U ending for all nouns. So you can imagine a noun case, meaning a noun case is composed of the noun itself plus the declension suffix, what we saw here, plus the Vibhakti suffix. Okay, this is what your noun case is all about. Just remember this. Let's move on to the next slide. Examples of declension suffix, how they work together, right? Declension and the Vibhakti suffix. Again, I'm just giving an intro. We will see in detail each of this as we proceed in the next slides. Because without giving examples, if I just directly jump into it, it will look very confusing. That's why I just want to give an example first and then move on and give the details. Okay, so Rama plus Na plus Annu. So this Na is your what you call as a declension suffix. Why? It helps you to link this Annu, which is actually the Vibhakti, to Rama. What Vibhakti is this? It's Dvitiya Vibhakti. That means here when you add the Dvitiya Vibhakti, this Rama has become an object, right? For example, if you want, so this will become Raman Annu. So Rama plus Na plus Annu, Raman Annu. Na is the letter that you need in order to attach Annu with Rama comfortably for pronunciation. If Na was not there, then it will be Ramannu. Rama plus Annu, Ramannu, right? Ramannu. So it sounds very inconvenient. So you just say Ramanannu, right? So Ramanannu. So this is Dvitiya Vibhakti. What in a sentence, how will it look like? Ramanannu Dasaratha Karayuttare. So Dasaratha called Rama. So Rama is the object here. That's why you're using Annu. So for depending upon which position a noun is in a sentence, you will have a different suffix, right? Now, Site plus Ya plus Annu. Again, Annu. This is Dvitiya. Site Yannu. Right? Dvitiya Vibhakti. Site. The Ya is your declension. The letter meant for declension. And Annu is your Vibhakti. So, Site Yannu. Site Yannu Rama Nodidare. So Rama saw Sita, right? Sita is the object here. Okay. Mara plus Va plus Annu, Maravannu. So here, Mara means tree, okay? And it's a neuter gender. So there is a specific letter to join this Mara with Annu, and that's your Va. Right? Maravannu. Again, Dvitiya Vibhakti. Maravannu, Nanu, Muttiddeni. I touched the tree, right? Then Mara again tree, the plus in the. So here the Panchami Vibhakti, which is in the. So when you're using Panchami Vibhakti, the same Mara will take a letter the. Maradinda. Right? So Maradinda, something from the tree. Maradinda, Hannu, Nanu, Nanu, Togondeni. So I took a fruit from the tree. Maradinda, Hannu, Nanu, Togondeni. So basically, depending upon what the Vibhakti is, the corresponding attaching letter will also change, depending upon the neuter, whether it's a neuter gender or whatever. We'll of course see the table. These are things that we will naturally be able to remember. We don't have to force ourselves to remember these individual letters. We'll see it. So Mara plus, okay, so in this case, if you notice, this is Chaturthi Vibhakti, right? So Akke is your suffix meant for Chaturthi Vibhakti, the fourth Vibhakti. But here there is no need for that declension, what you call declension letter, the letter to attach these two. So it will just be Marakke, right? So that's your Chaturthi Vibhakti. Then Hasu plus Vina plus Ali. Hasuvin Ali, that is, this is your Saptami Vibhakti, where Ali is the Vibhakti suffix. Vina is the letters needed to attach this Ali to Hasu. Hasuvin Ali, right? Hasuvin Ali, in the cow. So Hasu means cow, by the way. Hasuvin Ali. So in the house, in the cow, there are many uses, right? If you want to say like that. Hasuvinalli tumba upayogagalu ive, right? In the cow there are many uses. So that's where you have this vina. Vina is basically the declension suffix. Ali is your vibhakti suffix. And again hasu plus va plus anu, hasu annu. Here it's the dvitiya vibhakti, right? So if it's a dvitiya vibhakti for the same hasu, you have to use va, because here it's annu. So hasu annu, right? Hasu annu. Then kare, if it's kare, then you have to use ya plus annu. Annu is your vibhakti, right? So kare annu, right? Dvitiya vibhakti. One more example, kare plus ya plus alli, kare alli. It's the saptami vibhakti. Then kare plus a karege, there is no declension suffix added. So one more time, the noun case is basically made up of the noun plus the declension suffix and the vibhakti suffix. The declension suffix helps you to pronounce or helps you to attach the vibhakti suffix comfortably with the noun. We learned what is vibhakti. Declension suffix, we know the purpose. Vibhakti is basically to identify the noun in a sentence, depending upon which position it is located in the sentence. Okay, let's look at the details. Let's go to the next slides. Okay, so now we start with the nominative case and look into the detail. The first case, which is a nominative case, we look into the detail of how this nominative case is put together. Okay, so you will always see this table for every case. This table basically says what is the ending letter, whether it's masculine or feminine, and what is the corresponding suffix to be applied, right? So for nominative, for every case, the vibhakti suffix will be fixed. It is only the declension suffix that will change, right, from one letter ending to the next letter ending. So this table helps you to choose the declension suffix and automatically add the corresponding vibhakti suffix to it. So if you take this nominative case, it doesn't have a specific vibhakti suffix as such. What you have is only a declension suffix, which is this nu if it is a ending. If it is a ending masculine, if it's a ending feminine, it's lu. For example, Rama will be Ramanu. Again, this is optional. I have mentioned this. Of course, we'll go through it. I just want to explain the table so that when we see next cases, you will know what these tables are. So for the feminine a ending, say for example, it is Geeta. So you say Geeta lu, right? So this is a lu. Or if it's a or e ending word, say for example, Site you, right? If you are using a nominative case, so Site you. All other cases, nothing needs to be added. For all other, for example, if it's a ending neuter, there is nothing to be added. U ending noun, nothing to be added. If it's a nominative case, so that's the meaning of this table. So let's look at nominative case, what it is and what it is used for. So nominative case is always applied to the subject of a sentence, and like what I said, it doesn't require any suffix with respect to the vibhakti, right? If needed, it can take a suffix with respect to the declension, meaning the ending letter. Sometimes u suffix is added to make it sound poetic. So this u suffix is added as a vibhakti to make it sound poetic or for English words to Kannada, but it is not necessary. It is just an option. Examples of nominative case. Kate. Swarasyavagi ide. Kate means story. Swarasyavagi means interesting. Ide. It is interesting. So as you could see, the red word is the noun kate in nominative case. It is a subject of the sentence, and there is no suffix needed for it. As it is, you can use, right? Gadi, nintitu. Gadi is vehicle, nintitu stopped. Again, you see Gadi as it is, the noun is used without any suffix to represent the nominator. So if it doesn't have any suffix, you know it is nominative case. And if it's a subject, you have to use it as a nominative case. Fanu, joragi oduttade. Here I've just given it because English words, there is a tendency for people to put u to English words, but that is not nice, so it is not needed. But if you see it, you need to be aware of it, and that is the reason I've given it. Okay, you don't have to say it. You can still say fan joragi oduttade. Everybody will understand. Okay, adding u just makes it weird. Okay, then avanu oduttane. Avanu is basically a pronoun. Now pronouns, they already have an embedded u, so you don't have to do anything to them when you are talking about pronouns in nominative case. So here are the list of the pronouns. Nanu means I. By the way, avanu oduttane means he is running or he runs. Oduttane is runs, so that's a tense. So here avanu, right? He is the subject. Now here's the list of pronouns. Nanu means I. Navu means we. Ninu means you. Nivu means you all, plural. Avanu means he. Avalu means she. Avaru means they, plural. Adu means that. Avu means those, plural of that. This is the neuter gender. Okay, these are all pronouns in nominative case. As you could see, the embedded u is already there. You don't have to do anything when you're using them in nominative case. Okay, some examples of nouns in nominative case. Mane. Mane is house, Shale is school, Nadi is river, Kare is pond, Devasthana is temple, Mara is tree. And I also mentioned about this table. This table tells for the 5 declension, what are the corresponding suffix to be added before adding the case suffix. Because in nominative case, there is no case suffix. And this column will tell if there are any exceptions. Okay, so we are done with nominative case. Maybe we'll see some example in the next slides. I'm not sure. If most probably for nominative case, we shouldn't be needing examples because it's pretty straightforward. It's the noun as it is being used. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Yeah, we have examples for nominative case. Okay, Huduga, hedariddane. So Huduga is boy. Okay, Huduga. Hedariddane. Hedariddane is your verb for it. It says he got scared, right? Huduga became scared. So hedariddane. Forget about this. We are learning nouns. So Huduga. So the boy. So you don't have any suffix as it is the boy. The word boy is used here and it's the subject and therefore it doesn't need any suffix. Right? Huduga odi hoda. Huduga ran away. Right? He ran and went away. So that's Huduga. Again, there is no suffix. Illi. Illi kempiruve ide. Illi means here. Kempiruve means red ants. Ide are there. Illi kempiruve ide. So again, you are saying illi is here, which doesn't have any suffix, right? Because it's used in nominative case. Hudugi tumba churuku. Okay, hudugi tumba churuku. Churuku means very sharp, smart, right? So hudugi means girl. Tumba is very. So hudugi tumba churuku. Okay, again hudugi doesn't have any suffix. Okay, bekku. Okay, jigiyettu. Bekku, jigiyettu. Bekku means cat. Jigiyettu jumped. Cat jumped. Okay. Suresha. Suresh. It's a name of a person. Suresh. Obba. Ollaya manushya. Obba means one. Suresh is a Ollaya means good. He's a good man. Manushya means person. So Suresh is a good person. So here Suresh is a subject and you don't put any suffix for it. Gadi. Chennagide. So Gadi, vehicle is nice. Right? Chennagide is good. So Gadi means vehicle. Vehicle is nice. Chennagide. Okay. Male. Baru hage ide. Male is rain. Baru hage ide means it seems like it is going to rain. It seems like the rain is coming. Baru means the verb to come. Right? So male baru hage ide. So male means rain, and you don't see any suffix for it because it's nominative case. Bus nidanavagi hoguttade. Nidanavagi means slow. Bus is going slowly. Bus is your nominative case, and when bus is your subject, it's a nominative case, so no suffix needed. Right? Raja, name of a person. Raja. Sittu agiddare. Raja, okay, it's a king. Raja means king. Raja sittu agiddare. Sittu means anger, angry. So agu is to become. So sittu agiddare. Raja has become angry. Raja sittu agiddare. Again, this table is here. In every slide, you will see the table corresponding to the given case. The table basically says what is the suffix to be added for a given declension. These are all the declensions, right? What is the declension suffix to be added? As mentioned, for every Vibhakti, there will be only one suffix for the Vibhakti, right? It's only the declension suffix that changes with the ending letter of the noun. Okay, let's see the next slide. Okay, next we will look at the Dvitiya Vibhakti. So Dvitiya Vibhakti is basically applied if the applied to the direct object of the sentence, okay, that the subject is acting on. And the suffix for Dvitiya Vibhakti is annu. Colloquially it is anna, because when people speak fast, they will not say annu, they will just say anna. Avananna instead of saying avanannu. Okay, so just keep this in mind. Now, depending on the last letter of the object, the noun, either na, la, va, or ya must be inserted between the object and the annu, and that's what is given here in this table. You could see that na is added and then annu, na plus annu, nannu, lannu, vannu, yannu, this is also annu, u will be annu, and there is an exception which is like hasu. I'll go through that. So basically, there is only one suffix for the case, but because of the letter ending, the declension, we will have different letters added between the noun and the suffix. That's why you are getting this variations. Okay, so let's look at the first one. So Rama is a a ending. So Rama plus na you have to use Rama plus na plus annu, Raman annu. As just a quick reminder, na is coming from the declension. Because this is a ending, you have to use na. So depending upon the ending letter, you have to use the corresponding letter here, and annu is common for all. Okay, so annu represents the Dvitiya Vibhakti. So Geeta will be la, Geetalannu, right? Geetalannu. Then Mara, Maravannu, right? Va, because Mara is a neuter gender. It is tree. Geeta is a feminine name, so neuter gender is, if it's a ending, the rule is va, right? So ili means rat. It's e ending noun, therefore you use ya. Iliannu. Okay. La is leaf. Okay. A ending, you still have to use ya. So Elayannu. Right. Kadu means forest. It's u ending. Right. If it is u ending, you first subtract the u, it becomes kada, then kadannu. Okay, that's basically this rule. You just have to remove the u. Okay. Now there is an exception for u ending, which is nouns which are two-lettered harsva. Okay, two-lettered consonants typically, and harsva, they are not dirgha. Like example is hasu, hasu, right? Ha is a harsva consonant, su is a harsva consonant, and is u ending. In this case, you have to use va in between, hasuvannu, like this. This is an exception, and that's what I have mentioned here. U ending, and if it is a two-syllable noun and both syllables are consonants and harsva, then harsvasvara, meaning it's not dirgha. Harsva means 1 second pronunciation. Dirgha means like things like ka, a, e. These are all dirgha. These are all harsva, ha and su. In these case, even though it's u ending, you have to put a va in between and then annu, and the u will continue to stay. So it will be hasuvannu. You could see here hasuvannu. This is the only exception. Others will follow this rule. Okay, but as you do more practice, these things will automatically fall in place. There shouldn't be a need to remember it all the time. Just keep this table, and for initial practice, you have to refer this table. As we read more, then you will not have the need for this. Okay, this is for the accusative case. Let's go to the next. Okay, this will help you to understand how Annu is put together. Okay, Ramu, Somanannu, Hidiyuttane. Here Soma is your object and it is A ending, so you are using Nannu. You are using the Na. So you could see here Somanannu, Hidiyuttane. So Ramu catches Soma. Okay, or Soma here. Soma, it's not Somu, it's Soma. Okay, then Radha Geetalannu noduttale. Right? Geeta is a feminine I ending, so la Geetalannu. Radha sees Geeta. Noduttale means see. Sees Geeta. Raita Holavannu uluttani. Hola is field. I ending neuter, so vannu. Holavannu. Farmer plows. This is farmer plows the field. Next. Bekku iliyannu noduttade. Right? So ili is a e ending neuter because ili means rat. So yannu, ili yannu. Okay, cat sees the rat. Noduttade is here. Uluttane is to plow. Ulu is to plow. Okay, next. Ani kabbannu tinnuttade. Kabbu means sugarcane. Right? So u ending neuter. So you just remove the u here. Remove the u and add annu. Kabban. Elephant eats a sugarcane. Okay, let's look at the next slide. We'll see 2 or 3 slides of examples. Then you'll feel very confident. Then I can go further into the next case. This is the accusative case, right? Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so more examples to give you more confidence. Raita hasuvannu palisuttane. Here hasu is your object, so hasuvannu. Why hasuvannu? Because hasu is a unique, as we know, it's unique. It's supposed to be based on the u rule. It is supposed to be hasannu, right? Because as you know, if it's u ending, you just have to remove the u and then just add annu. But hasu is special. Why? Because it's a 2-syllabled u ending harsva word. Therefore, you have to use vannu. Hasuvannu. This is the only exception. Okay. Farmer protects the cow. Okay. This palisuttane is to protect or nurture. Palisu is to protect, nurture. There are few meanings for it, but the general meaning is to protect. Okay. Kudure aharavannu noduttade. Kudure is horse. Ahara means food. It's a ending, so aharavannu. Right? A ending neuter. Correct? Aharavannu. Okay. Horse is the food. Okay. Tayi maganannu bayyuttale. So tayi is mother. Bayyu is to scold. Mother scolds the son. So here son means maga. A ending and it's masculine. So maganannu here. This rule. Okay then. Devaru Bhaktarannu Kapadisuttare. Bhaktaru is u ending. So Bhaktarannu. So the u you remove and put annu. Bhaktarannu protects a devotee. Okay, devotee spelling is wrong. So so that u should not be there. So it's devotee. Right? Okay, so Devaru Bhaktarannu Kapadisuttare. Devotee. Okay, just please ignore the spelling mistake. Ravi Patravannu Koduttani. Patra is paper. R ending neuter. So Patravannu. See here. Ravi gives the paper. Koduttani. Kodu is give. Okay, one more slide of example. Sainika Deshavannu Rakshisuttare. Right? Rakshisuttare. So Desha means country. Okay, it's a ending neuter. So Deshavannu. A ending neuter. Deshavannu. Okay. Soldier protects the country. Sainika is soldier. Okay. Tande patrikeyannu ಓದುತ್ತಾರೆ. Patrike is newspaper or magazine. Both are. It's a ending, and therefore you have to put e or a ending is ya. So patrikeyannu. Father. Tande means father. Reads the newspaper. Okay. ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು ಪಾಠವನ್ನು ಕಲಿಯುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಪಾಠ is lesson. Okay. Kali is to learn. ಕಲಿಯುತ್ತಾರೆ. Patha, right? It's a ending neuter, so pathavannu. A ending neuter, pathavannu. Students learn the lesson. Okay. Vidyarthigalu is students. Okay. ಅಧ್ಯಾಪಕ ಪುಸ್ತಕವನ್ನು ಕೊಡುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಪುಸ್ತಕ is book, right? ಪುಸ್ತಕ a ending neuter, so ಪುಸ್ತಕವನ್ನು. This one. Teacher gives the book. Okay. ಅಧ್ಯಾಪಕ teacher. ಹುಲಿ ಜಿಂಕೆಯನ್ನು ಹಿಡಿಯುತ್ತದೆ. ಜಿಂಕೆ is deer. Jinke is deer and it's a ending, so ಜಿಂಕೆಯನ್ನು. Tiger catches the deer. Okay, so 3 slides of example I believe should be good enough. Just use this table and then you should be able to do the annu. So idea here is to remember that you use annu for the object of a sentence. So you should know what is the subject and what is an object of a sentence. I've already explained that before. Let's go to the next. Okay, now some grammatical rules. I didn't want to keep this, I wanted to give the examples first just to give you a feel. It's always nice to see examples. So that's why I gave the example, 3 slides of examples. So here, this is a slide that talks about the rule, the grammatical rules of it. This is just for awareness. Using annu should be a natural process, meaning you should be able to naturally know where to use annu. Okay, but this is the grammar part. Okay, so if you see the in English, right, straight away you can put on the book, the pen, the car, because you are trying to point to something, pinpoint something, then you use annu. Okay, pinpoint a noun. Okay, remember that. Okay, so these are the rules. Now, rule number 1: use annu for the direct object only. That is the direct object of a sentence. So sentences will have subject, which is doing the action on an object. When the object that it is doing an action on is the direct object. There will be indirect objects also in the sentence. As it comes, you will see it. But for the direct object only, you are using annu. Okay, Rama saw the tree, right? That's why you have to use annu. Maravannu. Rama Maravannu noduttare, like that. Rule number 2: use annu mandatorily if direct object is human. If the direct object is human, you have to use annu, no questions asked. If it is an inanimate object, then you look at the context. Okay, is there a the in the sentence? Then you use it. Okay. Rule number 3: use annu if direct object is placed immediately before subject in the sentence due to scrambling. Style of writing. See the adults, right? As adults, we don't speak sentences exactly like in a theoretical manner, right? So we speak sentence in a scrambled way. Whatever is important we say first, and then what is not important we say later within the sentence. So those type of scrambling, if it happens, then use annu if the direct object is placed immediately before the subject, meaning there is nothing between. So direct object is there, then immediately you have subject, then you use annu. We'll see an example of rule 3. Now this is all writing style, so just have to be aware of these rules. Not that we have to use it when we speak. It's not possible. When we speak more naturally. So don't be bogged down by these rules. These rules are for your understanding when you're reading books, when you're reading novels. Okay. Rule number 4: use annu if the direct object has any suffix due to plurality or clitics. I'll talk about clitics in the next slide. It's a useful knowledge to know about clitics. They are not directly related to accusative case, but it's good to know about clitics. It's a grammatical concept. Okay, that's rule number 4. So let's go to the next slide where we'll talk about clitics. Clitics are suffixes that are used for emphasis of specific words in the sentence. Okay, so lu, whenever for plurality, right, you always use galu, right? So this galu, lu is basically a clitic because it indicates plurality. Okay, hakki galu, right? So whenever, so the rule that we said was if a clitic is used on the direct object, blindly do a unknown, you will not go wrong. If it's a direct object and if a clitic is used. So I'm just giving you a list of clitic letters that give emphasis or plurality in this case. Nane, so A is a clitic also. An example of that is Nane hogabeka, bere yaru illava. So what you're trying to say is Nane, I myself, hogu is to go. Hogabeka means must go. Nane, nanu is the actual pronoun. Nanu means I. But when you say nane, I only, I mean, am I the only one? If you want to say such thing, then you say nani, right? So this, then a is a usual questionary clitic, which means niva. Nivu is the actual word to say you, right? But if you say niva, then it's a question. For example, Gopi enbudu niva. It's a question. So when you want to ask a question, if you want to make a statement, then it's Gopi enbudu nivu. Gopi enbudu means that is, okay. The name is that you. So if you want to make a statement, Gopi enbudu nivu is the statement. If you say niva, you just drag it, then it becomes a question. So then it is a clitic. U, if you have the dirgha U, right? Then it is for inclusion. Nanu, avanu, marketige, hodavu. Hodavu means we went, market, right, to the market. Avanu, he, I, nanu, I. So you are making a list. I, him, we went to the market. If you have like more people, you just keep adding no to the other. Nanu, avanu, avalu. You just have to keep adding u to it, right? So this is also a clitic. So these are examples of clitic, just an idea. Just keep this in mind. This is a grammatical concept in Kannada where you use a specific letter added to any word in a sentence to indicate some kind of an emotion. Think of it that way. Okay. Here O, example of O, indicating doubt. Okay. Yajamanaru ಊರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಸೇರಿಸರೋ ಇಲ್ಲವೋ, right? So here what you're trying to say is Yajamanaru means boss or it means husband. So here is the translation. Did your husband reach the village or not? You're asking a question. Serisu means to reach. Serisaro, you're asking, when you add ro to it, has he reached? So you're doing that, has he reached? You're doing that, what you call change in your tone, right? That's exactly how it is done in Kannada with the ro. Serisaro illavo, like that. Okay. So this is how people speak. Okay. Here I've just given the corresponding translation. So this is a simple introduction to clitic. Clitics, there are many varieties of clitics. I've just given a simple one. As you learn and let's say you watch TV serials, Kannada TV serials, you watch movies, you'll see a lot of these clitics used. If you don't understand it, then you will not be able to pick up the emotion. Of course, if you understand the context, you will be able to pick up the emotion. In general, just remember that clitics are nothing but letters added to convey an emotion. Okay. Let's move on back to accusative case. Next slide. Okay, some more examples, maybe slightly complex examples. Okay, Rama, Ravananannu, Kolluttare. Rama kills Ravana. So Ravana is your object. So Ravananannu. We have seen enough examples of this. Sita, Swarnada Jinkeyannu Kanuttale. Sita sees the golden deer. That's why Jinke. Jinke is A ending, so Jinke, and I think we saw an example with Jinke. Okay. Nagendra Visalakshiyanu Maduve Adanu. So here Visalakshi is the name of a feminine. So Visalakshi, E ending, so Yan. Nagendra is a name. Nagendra married Visalakshi. Maduve is marriage. Ada. So Maduve marriage. So when you take the word to be married is Maduve Agu. So this Adanu is a past tense of Agu. Agu means to become. Okay. Maduve Adanu means he became married to Visalakshi. Nagendra became married to Visalakshi. So you don't, to marry itself is not, there is no verb in Kannada. Marriage is there, the noun marriage is the corresponding word is Maduve. So you take the word, the noun, and then you just add agu to it, then you can make a verb out of it. Marriage, agu. So that's what this agu past tense is ada. So adanu. So he became married to Visalakshi is the exact Kannada literal translation. But in English we just say Nagendra married Visalakshi. Okay. ಛತ್ರಿಯನ್ನು ರಾಮು ಆಫೀಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬಂದು ಬಿಟ್ಟ. Okay, so the meaning for this is Ramu left the umbrella in the office. Chhatri is umbrella. Okay, umbrella chhatri, e ending, so yannu, chhatri yannu, right? Ramu office-nalli, so he left the umbrella. Bittu means he left it off and came. Baru is to come, so bandu bitta. So what is this bitta? So just a slight deviation from the main topic, which is our accusative case. Just an interesting topic. In Kannada, you will use a lot of bidu. Okay, there is this word called bidu. It's a verb which means to leave, but it is used as a helping verb in many other verbs. Like in this case, baru is the actual verb here, to come. Bandhu is the past tense. Bitta is also a past tense of leave. So bandhu bitta is like something that you do very fast, hastily, because he forgot something and came, right? Maybe he left the office very fast and came very fast. So that's why bandhu bitta. So this bidu, the past tense of bidu is bittu, basically conveys the concept of something being done very fast. This coming back home has been done very fast, and therefore this bidu, right? So if you if somebody will say, okay, kuttu bidi, kudu is to give. Okay, nanage hana kuttu bidi. When somebody says like that, they are saying, please give the money to me quickly. If somebody asking for money, then they will say kuttu bidi. So you will see a lot of this bidu being added to verbs to represent you to, okay, quickly get it done, quickly, just do it quickly, right? In English we say off, off, that we use in English. He went off. He went off quickly. He ran off. So we use this off in English. The corresponding thing is this bidu in Kannada. Okay. Just a side note. Okay. Then next one. Chhatri Bisutta Ramu Olage Banda. So here this is an example of not using the annu here, right? So Chhatri is your object, Ramu is your subject, and there is a Bisutta in between. Bisutta means waving. While waving, Ramu and Olage Banda means came inside. Okay, Baru is come, Olage is inside. So Ramu came inside waving the Chhatri. So because this Bisutta is in between the subject and the object, and object is, see, object is put first and subject comes later. In these type of scrambled sentences, if you have an in-between word, then there is no need for annu. But if you put annu, you are just overemphasizing it. But it just says that there is no need for it. Okay, so this is an example of not using annu. But these are all writing styles, so don't get too bogged down by this. Just be aware of it. Neevu avanannu yake hodediri. So you, right? Neevu avanannu, him. Why beat? Hode is to beat. Why did you beat? Avanannu. So we are using annu here because we want to emphasize the object. So annu. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. More examples. Avaru ಹಲವರು ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So here ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳು. So that's why ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳನ್ನು we are saying. ಅವರು ಹಲವರು ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳನ್ನು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Because you are using the plural of ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳು, so you are using ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳನ್ನು. The annu is used. Halavaru means many. Halavaru is many. Avaru, he has written. Barediddare means is to write. So he has written several books. Halavaru is many or several. So here what we are trying to say is, because you are using plural for your object, which is your pustaka, you are forced to use annu. Avaru halavaru pustakagalannu barediddare. Okay, that's an example. Okay. ನಾರಣಪ್ಪ ಮರವನ್ನು ಕಡಿಯತೊಡಗಿದ. Right? Todagida is to start. Okay. Kadiya is to cut with an axe. So Maravannu. So the tree. Here the Maravannu. So Naranappa is the name of a person. Naranappa Maravannu. The fact that you are putting Annu, you are saying he started cutting the tree. So there is some specific tree that he is cutting. In some context, this is probably a line taken from a story. So Naranappa Maravannu Kadiyat Todagida. So Kadiya is to cut. Kadiya Todagida. He started to cut. Todagu is to cut. So Kadiya Todagida. It means he started cutting. Naranappa started cutting the tree. Because you have the sentence in English that says the tree, so you say Maravannu. If he cut a tree, you will not put Maravannu. Naranappa Mara Kadiyat Todagida. He started cutting a tree. But here it's the tree. Okay. But if other words like amara, amara means that tree, mara, this tree, if they are used and they are already pointing, this a and e are already pointing to the mara, then there is no necessity for this annu here, for a maravannu, right? For example, Neevu e pustaka odi. So you're saying you read this book. E means this. We will come to understand this when we learn pronoun, which is the next video. But E means this. By the way, this is not the harsva a. It's a dirgha a. Amara means that tree. E mara means this tree. Okay. So Neevu e pustaka odi. So you don't have to. Odi means to read. Okay. You are asking somebody to read. Pustaka is book. Now, because you have E already pointing to the book, right? You don't need the annu. The purpose of annu is to point to a specific thing, but E is already doing the job, so you don't need. That's what this thing is emphasizing. Okay. Then this is Sainyavannu. Sainya means army. Sainyavannu Sajjugolisulayitu. Sainyavannu Sajjugolisulayitu. Meaning Sajjugolisulayitu means it became ready, was ready. See, it was Sajjugolisulayitu, it was made to be ready. So this is like a passive voice sentence. Okay. Sainyavannu, the army was ready, as you could see in English. So the army, because it's the army, so Sainyavannu. Sainyavannu Sajjugolisalayitu. Sajjugolisalayitu. So it was made to be ready. Sajjugolisu is to be ready, to get into readiness, right? So Sainyavannu Sajju. So these are sentences that you will see in newspaper or you will hear it in the TV from a newsreader, right? The army was readied. In these cases, they will also use the annu. Okay, Radha Rowdiyannu Nodi Hedarike Adalu. Radha, rowdy means some ruffian, right? Some bad person. So Rowdiyannu Nodi Hedarike means get scared. Hedarike Adalu. The feeling of being scared. Adalu is to become. Agu is to be. Agu is to become. Ada is became. So she became scared. Okay, Hedarike is scared. So she became scared. Nodi, after seeing the rowdy, Radha, Hedarike. So here rowdy is a human and therefore rowdiyan is used. Direct object. Okay, rowdiyan. Okay, let's see the next slide. Okay, now we go to the next case, instrumental case. I hope accusative case was addressed and dealt with enough examples. So let's move on to instrumental case. Instrumental case is the Tritiya Vibhakti, where we say Karana. It's the Karana form of Vibhakti. Okay, the equivalent in English is by, through, with in English. Okay, suffix in the, right? The suffix for Tritiya Vibhakti is in the. In the. Okay. Again, there is only one suffix for the instrumental case, but depending upon the declension, right, which is the ending letter, different letters are added. Na, la, da, ya, right, va are added, and therefore you are getting these variations, right? These variations. But actually, for this instrumental case, there is only one suffix which is in the. Rama plus na plus in the Ramananda. Ramananda, right? From Ramananda by Rama. right? Ramalinda. Geetalinda. Geetalinda means by Geeta. Maradinda. So this is the you have to use. I have given specifically here because in accusative case, if you remember, it is actually va, maravannu. But in instrumental case, for neuter gender ending, it is the. That's why I have given it in red and large, just for emphasis. Maradinda. We remember it was maravannu, right? So in the Tritiya Vibhakti, it is maradinda from the. I mean by the tree, through the tree, if you want to say. Maradinda. Okay. Ili Iliyinda, right? Iliyinda. Ili. So you have to use ya. Ya plus e is e. So Iliyinda. E ending, which is this rule. Eleyinda, right? Eleyinda. Eleyinda also uses this. Kadu is ele is leaf. Ili is rat, as you know. Kadu is forest. Kadu you have to minus the u and kadinda, right? By the forest. Hasu. Hasu is cow and is the exception. So it's hasu. You have to use ba hasuvinda. So you can see all these rules. So this is the in the suffix. Okay, for Tritiya Vibhakti. Now let's look at when what it means is by, through, with in English. So this table will be there in all the slides, so we can always refer it as we move forward. The only thing that you have to remember is for a ending neuter, it is not va, but it is the. But otherwise, it's the same suffixes as an accusative. Okay, in this slide, we basically just give an emphasis on the difference between the accusative case, the Dvitiya Vibhakti, the Tritiya Vibhakti with respect to the neuter gender, right? The neuter gender a ending. Where in accusative case, meaning the Dvitiya Vibhakti, you'll have a va, maravannu, right? Whereas here it's the maradinda. So that is the only difference. All other endings will be similar. Okay, so that's basically what I was trying to emphasize here. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so examples of the Tritiya Vibhakti. This book was written by him, right? This is where you use the Tritiya Vibhakti. Avarinda ee pustakavannu barayalagittu. So as I mentioned before, the Tritiya Vibhakti is extensively used for converting active voice to passive voice, right? So when you say he wrote this book, right, that is active voice. This book was written by him is passive voice. So you have to use by him, right? That's where the Tritiya Vibhakti comes in and helps. So avarinda ee pustakavannu barayalagittu. Okay, so this avarinda is the example. Let's look at the second example. The rat entered the kitchen through a hole, right? Through. So this also something when you go through an object, that's also Tritiya Vibhakti. ಒಂದು ದ್ವಾರದಿಂದ ಇಲಿ ಅಡುಗೆ ಮನೆ ಒಳಗೆ ಬಂತು. Right, this is aduge mane. There's a gap in between. Actually, the gap is not there. Aduge mane. So aduge mane means kitchen. Okay, mane means house. Aduge is cooking. Cooking house, so it's kitchen. Okay, ಒಳಗೆ is inside. Bantu. Bantu means it came. Past tense. Right. So ಒಂದು ದ್ವಾರದಿಂದ. ದ್ವಾರ means hole. Dwaradinda. Dwara is a ending neuter. So Dwaradinda. Okay. Through a hole. So if you want to use the word through, then you also have to use a Tritiya Vibhakti. Undu Dwaradinda. Okay. So the alternate for through, right? Instead of using dinda, you can use a complete word just like English, which is called mulaka. Mulaka also means through. Okay. Mulaka, right? So you can say undu dwara, stop there and then use mulaka. Then this makes it easy. You don't have to figure out what kind of the sandhi I have to use, whether I have to use dinda, inda, linda. You don't have to worry about that. You can just say dwara mulaka. It will be very similar to English, meaning mulaka is a direct translation of through. ಮೂಲಕ, right? ಒಂದು ದ್ವಾರ ಮೂಲಕ ಇಲಿ ಅಡುಗೆ ಮನೆ ಒಳಗೆ ಬಂತು. Okay, so that's your option. Then Third usage of Tritiya Vibhakti, with, that is an instrument. That's why it's called an instrumental case. When the with an act, so the with that you use as an object to operate on an object is what you have to use the Tritiya Vibhakti. That is, the boy cut the tree with an axe. Okay, this with is what you have to um, um, uh, use the Tritiya Vibhakti. You have to use the Tritiya Vibhakti on the axe, which is the noun, right? So Kodali yinda, Kodali, right? Kodali is the verb for axe. Kodali yinda, because Kodali is e ending and it is a neuter. I mean, doesn't matter if it's a neuter, as long as it's e ending, you have to use inda. Kodali yinda, huduga maravannu kattarisida. Okay, you can say kattarisida or kadisida. You can also, so cutting, so chopping, right? Axe, using an axe when you cut a tree or like really chopping. You're not cutting like as if you're cutting vegetable. So kattarisida, kattarisu is to cut vegetable, that type of thing. But you can generally use for cut of anything. But specifically, if you're using an axe and you're chopping, right? In English, you have the chopping a tree, right? Then you can say kadi. Kadi is the exact verb for it, but kattari sida is also fine. Anyway, that's not the topic here. The topic here is kodali inda, right? With an axe. So there are three usages of the Tritiya Vibhakti: by him. So if you want to say by somebody, something was done by someone, right? Then you use this Tritiya Vibhakti. Or if something went through a particular object, so you have to use the Tritiya Vibhakti. And when you do something with an object, right, with something, then that object you use the Tritiya Vibhakti on it, right? Like Kodali, you are using the Kodali to cut the tree, so with an axe. Now the important thing, right, again with also you can use Mulaka, alternate for with, just like through. For with also you can use Mulaka. Undu Kodali Mulaka here. Undu Kodali Mulaka Huduga Maravannu Kattarisida. Okay, you can also use Mulaka where you can use the Kodali and Mulaka as separate words. You don't have to do Kodali in the at all. Okay, one word of caution here about the thing about with, right? Your with is also a preposition in English, right? I went with him, right? This with you cannot use in the, right? There is a specific word. There are three options for it in Kannada. One is called jote, right? Avana jote means I went with him. Nanu avana jote hode, right here that you see here. Nanu is I. Avana with, I mean avana jote is with him, together. Avana jotege or avana jote. Hode means I went. This is a past tense of hogu. So hogu means go. Hode means past tense of hogu. So it's I went. So the options that you have for this type of the with used here. So the with that is used here and the with that is used here are two different usage, right? Here the with is for the instrument that you're using, right? Whereas this with is like together with somebody, right? So that together kind of meaning. So this with you have to use jote. You don't use going in the and all. Or you can use ondige. Nanu avanondige. You can use the word ondige. That's fine, right? You can also use the word odane. So these are the three options that you have. But jote is very common in spoken Kannada. You can use this jote, right? Avana jote, avana jote, hode. So this one, it's a bit subtle because jote you are using, but the noun before that jote has to be in Shashti Vibhakti. So there is some subtlety that you need to understand. But we have not looked at Shashti Vibhakti yet, but we'll see it later. But take a look, be aware of this. Whenever you're using jote, the noun before that has to be in Shashti Vibhakti. This is Avana, not Avanu. Right? Avana is Shashti Vibhakti. So there is some complication there. Okay, so I hope this is clear that the difference between the with as in I went with him and the with as in with an axe, right? So if you have any confusion, please go through this slide again and then you'll get a better understanding. Again, all these things happen is for our this is learning, right? Putting it in practice is by reading novels, reading books, then you will automatically see this difference. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, this is another use of Tritiya Vibhakti, which is called Indagi. Indagi means because of, due to. Okay, let's see some examples. Now, one thing that I wanted to say was this indagi can also be replaced with just inda, also means because of, due to. Okay, indagi is more written form, or it's more purer form, that's all. You can still use inda for because of. So what you do is basically take the noun or the pronoun, and when you add inda to it, you will get the effect of because of. Okay, that's basically what we are going to see. Because of you, we are like this. So you is a pronoun. So nimmindagi or nimminda. Now hige irutteve. So nimminda means because of you. Nimminda. Now we hige like this. Irutteve. We are like this. This is are. Okay, so due to his laziness. So laziness is your noun. It's an abstract noun. So to this laziness you have to add in the, right? So his laziness. So avana. His means avana. Avanu is he. His means avana. Avana somberittanadindagi. Somberitana means laziness. Avana somberittanadindagi. Now tadavagiddegu. Tadavagu means late. To become late is called tadavagu. Tadavagiddegu. So somberitana is a ending and it's a neuter. So dindagi. Okay. Because of your help we survived. Nimma sahayadindagi navu ulisikkondevu. Sahaya, neuter. Therefore, sahaya means help. So it's a neuter noun. And so dindagi. Nimma, your. Sahayadindagi, help. Navu, we. Ulisukkollu. Ulisu means to save. Ulisukkollu means to be saved, to get saved. So ulisukkondu. Kondu is a past tense of kollu. So this the kollu is a auxiliary verb that helps in Kannada where you want to talk about an action done on yourself. Then you will use kollu. Ulisu to save. Kollu, save yourself. Okay. Past tense of kollu is kondu. So it's a very useful helping verb. Kollu. Okay. Due to the rain, we could not play. Rain is a noun. So malayindagi navu aata aadakke agalilla. Malayindagi, due to the rain, navu, we, aata, game, aadakke, to play. Okay, game, to play, agalilla, could not. Okay, so the idea, I mean, of course, these are all just for the sentence sake I'm giving this. These are all like separate topics. We'll have videos talking about all the other forms of the sentences, but here we are focusing on Malayinda. Okay, because of the crowd I did not go to Brigade Road. So crowd is your noun. So crowd is gumpo. Gumpanindagi. Gumpo, the woo you remove, then you put ninda. Gumpanindagi navu, nanu, Brigade Road, hogalilla. I did not go to Brigade Road. Okay, so you can also use another word called karanadinda. Karana means reason. So when you say karana, then karanadinda means because of that reason. So you can replace this indagi with karanadinda. This indagi can be replaced with karanadinda and you will get the same meaning. For example, gumpu karanadinda, right? So you can leave the gumpu as it is. You don't have to do any of the removing of u and all. Gumpu karanadinda nanu brigade hogalilla. So this is another use of Tritiya Vibhakti. Okay, so this one I mentioned about with, the two uses of with. One is with as an instrumental case, which is the inda, and the with as in a preposition in English. I went to the shop with him, right, with my friend. So there you cannot use inda. Okay, so there are specific words in Kannada to do that. One is the jote, another one is ondige, another one is odane. These are three words that you can use. So with the jote, basically you have to, there are certain rules. You have to use Shashti Vibhakti to on the friend. Okay, with my friend means snehitana jote, right? So if whenever you're using jote means with, okay, literally it means with. Okay, so jote. Then actually jote also means together. Okay, with and together. Okay, undige is again a suffix that that can be added to the snehita. Okay, So you can say snehita nondige. Again, snehitana only you have to take, meaning the Shashti Vibhakti. We have not seen Shashti Vibhakti, but just for your understanding, you need to know that Shashti Vibhakti means that you take the noun and add na to it if it's a ending masculine. So snehitana jotege also. I mean, sorry, ondige. Snehita nondige you must say. Right? Snehita nondige. Na and O will become no. Nondige. Or you can say snehitana, then give a break and say jote. So if you're using ondike, it has to be added like ninda, right? It has to be linked with the word. It will become a single word. If you're using jote, it will be a separate word. That's the difference. Snehitana, jote. Odane is also same. Snehitana, odane, similar to jote. So between jote and odane, they are separate words representing with, okay, as a preposition. Whereas undige is a pure suffix. Suffix means it attaches to the noun. So snehitana, snehita nondige, you will say, or snehitana jote, or snehitana odane. Right? Okay, so that's basically what this is all about. This with as a preposition is different from the with as an instrument. So this is the purpose of this slide. So let's move on. Right. Okay, so because we saw with as a preposition in the previous slide, I'm just introducing without. It has got nothing to do with the instrumental case, but it is a very logical thing to talk about without as a preposition when you have already talked about with, which is jote, right? So just note that it has got nothing to do with the instrumental case, just that it's logically linked with. Okay, now example, makkalannu ಒಂಟಿಯಾಗಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯಾಕೆ ಬಂದಿರಿ. So this is a sentence. Makkalu means children. Okay, makkalannu. Ontiyaagi means alone. Bittu is to without. Right? Yake bandiri. So forget about this ontiyaagi. You can just say makkala bittu yake bandiri. So here without is also used by making the making the noun in Shashti Vibhakti. So you should take the noun, right, make it convert it to Shashti Vibhakti and then use bittu. So here it means without. So makkala bittu yake bandiri. Why? Yake means why. Bandiri is why did you come? Okay. So makkala bittu yake bandiri means by without the children, why did you come? So that bittu here is without, the preposition without. Okay, one more example will clarify. I mean, we have two words for without. One is bittu, another one is illade. You will see that. Nanage sakkare illade coffee. Right? For me, sakkare means sugar. Illade, without coffee. Right? In English, you will use without before the noun. Here, we will use it without after the noun. Here, the sakkare is the one that you want to without, meaning you want to take it out. Right? As a noun, you want to take it. So, nanage, for me, sakkare, sugar, illade, without coffee. So, in Kannada, the without has to be after the noun. One more example. ರಾಮನನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸೀತೆ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಇದ್ದದಿಲ್ಲ. So ಇದ್ದದಿಲ್ಲ. So what it means is Ramanu with Rama bittu. So without Rama. So this bittu is without. So you could see in English you will say without Rama. In Kannada you can say Ramanannu bittu. Or you can say Ramana bittu also is right. So you can use Ramanannu, which is Dvitiya Vibhakti, or Ramana bittu is also fine. Similarly here, Makkalannu bittu you can use, or Makkala bittu. Makkala bittu will be Shashti Vibhakti. Makkalannu bittu means Dvitiya Vibhakti. Both can be used, right? In front of bittu. So when you say Ramanannu bittu means without Rama. Site, Yavagulu means never, right? Yavagulu means never, right? Site yavagulu iddadilla. So yavagulu means always. So here this always is changing to never because iddadilla is a negative thing, meaning has not been there. So always has not been there. So here it means never, but actually yavagulu literally means always. Okay, yavagulu iddadilla. So this iddadilla means not been there. Okay, so always not been there. So without Rama, Sita has not been there, has never been there. Okay, that's what it means. Here it's bittu. Okay, ಆ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ವಿಷಯಗಳು ಮಾತಾಡೋಂಬ. Okay, Vishaya means topic. A Vishaya means that topic. So A Vishaya bittu here, except meaning without that topic or except that topic. So it can also mean the preposition except that topic. Bere means something else. Vishayagalu, some other topic. Matadonva means shall we speak. Here matadu is to speak. Matadonva means shall we speak. So shall we speak some other topic other than, so it's a vishayavannu bittu, right? So this vishaya, when you put bittu after that, it means without this topic. So that's how bittu is used, okay? ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುವುದು ತುಂಬಾ ವೇದನೆ. ವೇದನೆ means pain. ಆಸಕ್ತಿ means interest. ಇಲ್ಲದೆ, without interest. So you could see the without is always, in Kannada without is always after the noun. ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಕೆಲಸ, work, ಮಾಡುವುದು, to do, ತುಂಬಾ, very painful, ವೇದನೆ, very painful. Without interest, doing work is very painful. ಗೀತಾ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಸೀತಾ ಎಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಹೋಗುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. So without Gita, Sita ಎಲ್ಲಿಯೂ, everywhere, ಹೋಗುವುದಿಲ್ಲ, so doesn't go anywhere. So this ಎಲ್ಲಿಯೂ means anywhere, but because you are using this ಹೋಗುವುದಿಲ್ಲ, illa means negation, so don't go. ಹೋಗು means go, doesn't go anywhere. Okay, that's why this is so she doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so Gita illade, without Gita, Sita doesn't go anywhere. Okay, Buddhi illade hige ಮಾಡಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ, right? ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಕ್ಷಮಿಸಿ. ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ, ಬುದ್ಧಿ means sense, right? Without sense, senselessly or without sense. Buddhi illade, this is without. Buddhi illade ಹೀಗೆ, like this. ಮಾಡಿ, did, ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ, I did this, right? I did this hastily, right? ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು, please. ನನ್ನನ್ನು, me. ಕ್ಷಮಿಸಿ means forgive, please forgive me. Okay, so this ಮಾಡಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ, I mentioned about this bidu. Bidu is ಮಾಡು is do. Okay, ಮಾಡಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ means I did it very hastily or quickly. You want to give that emotion. Bidu literally means leave. Okay, like that you see here. Okay, so the bidu means leave, but it has got many uses. When you add it to other verbs, right, it indicates something done hastily, something done involuntarily, something done fast, right? All these emotions can be explained by adding bidu with a verb. So here I did ಮಾಡಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ, so I'm saying I did something hastily, meaning buddhila, I did it without sense. So that's why I use ಮಾಡಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. With this slide we are ending this part of the nouns. We will have another video for the second part of the nouns, where we start with the dative case, which is the Chaturthi Vibhakti all the way until Saptami Ashtami Vibhakti, right? So noun tutorials is in 2 parts because there is a lot to cover. So please look for the part 2 of the noun video and continue from there. Thank you.